Hey everyone, it's me again, Spencer with sketchtoday.com. I have with me today the Flint Studio Tools case. If you're new to the page or just a new fan, this is a little project I was involved in. And I just kind of wanted to show you how I would go about sketching a concept for something like this, and maybe how I would kind of tell the story of the case and its functionality and so forth. So looking at the product, it's got a nice waterproof zipper on the outside, a little bit of a loop here so you can hold it. My apologies to those who get freaked out in my hands. They're not lotion today, so sorry about that. Anyhow, so I'm just going to be doing a quick pencil sketch just showing kind of how I would show a concept like this. So today I'm using tracing paper. It's this nice thin cheap paper, and I've got pencils here. So the first thing I'm going to do, if you watch my last video, you can see I use this technique a little bit, and that is form, divide, and beautify. So I'm just going to block out real quick some forms on my page, and this is going to kind of help me compose my page as I go. So I'd like one view to be kind of a closed view. Right now I kind of have this overlap happening here, so maybe I'll go ahead and also sketch in just a kind of a top view of my design on the bottom here. So with this I can start to lightly create an outline for my design. This is a view that's going to be open. Okay, and it has some depth to it, so I'm going to kind of show that as I go around here. As far as pencils go, I'm using Prismacolor very thin and Prismacolor Premier pencils. They have this thicker lead. So that sound you hear in the background, that's my trusty automatic sharpener. And you'll hear me doing that a couple times through the video. One way to avoid sharpening your pencils all the time is to just have a lot of them sharpened. And that way you'll save yourself some trouble as you are sketching. That way you won't have to keep sharpening your pencils. Okay, so here you'll notice on the case, or maybe you won't notice, it's really subtle, but there is a slight detail in the top. We added this detail to add to the structural rigidity of the case. It's a compression molded case, so we wanted to add some details on the inside as well as details on the outside that would act as reinforcements. So just having a little hard ridge here helps protect the case from being crushed. So I want to sketch that in a little bit on this view to kind of show that. Right through there. And on the inside of the case, we've got a little bit of a dish, like so. And on the top, I'm just sketching in some contour lines to kind of help me as I sketch my details in. There's also a little fabric patch right through here. Okay. Now I'm going to lightly try and mimic the pattern of these ribs that we've added on the inside of the case. And these ribs, again, much like the exterior ridge, act as structural stability for the case and help protect your precious calipers on the inside. So to sketch this, I've created a series of lines, and with these lines I'm going to emphasize the upper portion of the line, like so. Lower portion I'm going to keep kind of light, and I'm going to add just a slight double line to that. And it may be hard to see, as you're watching me sketch this out. And here we have our little spot for the calipers. We'll go ahead and fix this as I'm sketching here, and also a spot for the ruler. So I'm going to use these to kind of guide, right? So this cuts out a little bit. I've got a cut here. Cut here as well, like so, and another one right through there. Okay, so that kind of gets me my basic cutout for where the caliper would go. On the top of the case, I've got a circle compression molded area, and I'm just going to offset a few ellipses. I'm sketching this really lightly so that, again, I have some guides with which to sketch in some details of these ribs. On the top case, there's a pocket and a little bit of piping around the edge as well. So I'm gonna sketch the line for my pocket and just my little bit of border material right there, really light. Pardon me while I sharpen here. So just a little tip, if you're sketching with pencil and you want sharp tips, you can actually sharpen from both ends like I did on this pencil. And that way I have a sharp point on either end of the pencil. Okay, so got to get my cutouts here for the ruler as well. I kind of forgot about those, but that's alright. Okay, so now I'm starting just to shade in a little bit. And the nice thing with pencil is I can just apply a little bit more weight, and I can get some nice tone and shade as I'm going. Now, just to show you how you can use some of the items in the kit, so it comes with this pretty neat ruler. I typically wouldn't use one like this to sketch with, but because I have the kit here, I'm going to go ahead and use it. Now, what I'm going to do, I know you're probably gasping, oh, you're using a tool. But sometimes I do use tools if I've got things like a repeat pattern here. So what I'm doing is I'm just using this line, or this ruler rather, to pull out these stronger lines that I want to sketch in. Especially because my pencil, the Prismacolor Premier, tends to be a little bit softer of a pencil. So just having something to guide just a little bit kind of helps me put emphasis where I need it to be. Okay, just like that. so with that, I can separate my page, and I did this last time as well. You can flip your tracing paper here and flip to the back, and I'm going to go ahead and use a nice dark marker. I've got here a chart pack number 8. I'm going to test it on this other piece just to see how it looks. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to create a wash on my paper here, and normally if I had a white pencil I would show you something a little bit different here, but I'm going to go ahead and just shade this in. And we'll just use this as a wash. So a wash is when you kind of fill in a whole area and then pull details out on the other side. And the reason I'm doing this is because my case itself, again, if you look at the case, it's kind of black, so I want to get a nice dark tone if I can, just for this top section. Okay, so there I've got a wash on the back, and now this chart pack marker is a little juicier than normal, so it may bleed onto the paper behind you, but that's okay. So now I've got that, I'm going to use my pencil back on the front here, and I'm just going to start to pull out these details that I want. So here's this center band in the middle. Got our piping here. I can shade on top of the marker like so. Adding in details where I need them to be. I'm going to rotate my page so I can get a nice line here. And I'm going to go ahead and shade just to bring out these details. Shade in some darks. On the sides of these ridges. And the reason this works is if you look around you in the natural world, you'll notice that wherever there's a change in surface direction, you get a change in tone on that surface. So by putting my lightest lights against my darkest darks, or emphasizing contrast, I'm able to show that there's some depth and definition to these ridges. Okay. And then just in these recesses, I'm going to go ahead and shade in just a little bit in here, like so. And for my ruler, shade in as well. A little bit of tone on this midsection right through there. And forgive me the background sound, my family's doing laundry right now. Okay, so here's the outside of the case, and you'll notice I didn't shade that with my marker, and that's okay, because what I want to do is actually utilize the case to show you guys something really cool that you can do. Okay, so there's that piece on the top that kind of captures your caliper. It keeps it safe. Got a pocket right here. Show that stitching, or that border rather. Okay, so right down here at the bottom, what I can do is I can actually take the case. So here you'll notice it has this nice solid compression molded outer piece. And you can do this like if you're sketching a backpack sketch. This trick I'm going to show you is really cool. So tracing paper, I can take this, put it on top of my Flint Studio Tools case here, and actually shade on top. So if you went to elementary or primary school, you probably tried this before with your crayons, and you found that, hey, if I shade on a thin piece of paper with my crayons, I pick up the texture of the thing beneath it. So that's exactly what I did right there, is I took the actual case and picked up some of that texture, right? So I've got, for example, this mesh pocket, and I don't exactly want to shade on this because it's got that compression molded stuff behind it. But to mimic that, what I can do is I can take this section as part of my sketch here and just shade right on top of my case with my pencil. And I'm holding really tight with my paper, with my fingers rather, holding the paper, because I don't want that to slip and mess up the pattern as much as possible. I'm just trying to kind of keep that nice and consistent. Okay, so now I've got texture here and texture on the outside. And I'm just going to finish up these outer lines, like so. So for this view right here, I can kind of do the same thing. Take my case, and if I want to vignette this, so think about light source, where that's coming from. I'm going to actually shade a little bit harder on the edges, the corners, and then kind of fan out toward the front. Okay, and I want to create enough of a shadow core so that it feels like the case is actually rounding. Okay, so even with the texture pickup method here with the pencil, I can create a sense of roundness just by modifying the intensity. The intensity of the pressure I put on the paper. So let's say there's a zipper here. I'm just gonna kind of mimic this in. I don't really like to sketch zippers. They're kind of hard, so I usually just kind of fake it in. So let's say there's a zipper here and I want to show that, or show rather how the zipper opens up. What I can do is, sorry, I couldn't resist. I just felt like I needed a little bit of tone through here. Some contrast for my case. Okay. So what I can do is add something like an arrow. So I can sketch an arrow that runs this way. Nice little arrowhead here. And let's take this red and just marker this in. Shadow core through there. Something like that. Okay, nice little arrow. And just on the bend, I'm going to add a little bit of shading to further reinforce that this arrow is bending, and adding a little bit of line weight as well. let's go ahead and shade in this waterproof zipper. So there's lots of pressure back and forth on my pencil. So with the corner here, I'm trying to apply that principle of lightest lights against darkest darks. It's a little bit light right now, so I'm going to darken it up just a little bit. But I definitely want some contrast between the round through there on that corner, right through there, and that flat surface. So now I can label a few things. There's my waterproof. This is all dummy text, of course, but there's my waterproof zipper. I can label where the calipers go. That's where my calipers would go. Here's a little feature that would capture the top of the calipers. Here's my mesh pouch. And here's where my ruler would go. So, pretty cool. I know you thought, hey, this is just a caliper case. And yeah, you know, at face value it is. It is a caliper case. It's a caliper kit, specifically a mechanical dial caliper. But with a little bit of creativity, you can see how I've extended the use of the kit to create a sketch. So if I were sketching something like a cell phone, I may use the ruler to kind of punch those lines and corners, or edges rather. But if I were sketching something like soft goods, I could use the texture of the case itself to get some texture into my product sketch here. So if you haven't yet, and let's see, today I believe is March 12th. If you haven't yet, go ahead and visit our Kickstarter page. I'll put the link in the video and on the post. And if you feel so inclined, we'd love your support. I think we've reached our goal, but you know, we're looking to push and keep pushing ourselves to deliver more of these. So if you're interested, go ahead and pledge. We also have pretty cool t-shirt and package, so if you pledge for the highest amount, I'll actually sign an illustration that I did. Little print, it's a little F logo. It's the same thing on the t-shirt, and I'll sign that with a personal note to you saying thanks, because you know we appreciate it. This is hopefully the first of a few Kickstarters that we hope to release here. So thanks again for your support and time, and we'll see you next time here at Sketch-A-Day on YouTube. Thanks, guys.